It is the biggest single loss of life so far in the Channel this year, with a pregnant woman, along with 6 children among the dead, when their small boat capsized off the French coast. 12 people died in all and 51 others were rescued. Some are in a critical condition. Downing Street insists it's taking action to target the criminal smuggling gangs, describing the deaths as truly horrific. We'll have more on the government's policy regarding the small boats in a moment. This boat got into difficulty off Cap Gris-Nez around 6 a.m. with all those on board ending up in the water. Just a handful of people were wearing life jackets. Well, Andrew Harding is live in Boulogne-sur-Mer, where an emergency medical centre has now been set up. Andrew.
Yes, good evening, Clive. French officials tonight are saying, look, this could have been a lot worse. They were on the scene very quickly. They plucked 51 people from the waves and brought them back to shore alive. But as you say, 6 children were among those who died here today. French rescue helicopters busy once again today, bringing casualties from the sea to the shore. This the scene at a harbour in the big port city of Boulogne. Bodies on stretchers. Among the dead, 6 children and a pregnant woman.
Aujourd'hui, ils sont 70 à 80 personnes sur les mêmes bateaux.
There used to be 30 or 40 people on these small boats. Now there are 70 or 80 people. Most likely, the boat collapsed very fast. The smugglers had provided no more than 8 life jackets. So, if help had not arrived so fast, far more people would have faced certain death.
French officials say cross-channel smugglers are increasingly cramming far too many people on board their flimsy boats. 51 people, many it's thought from East Africa, were rescued in choppy seas. But in other boats, dozens if not hundreds more today made the same crossing without significant trouble. Some here being taken ashore in Dover in a rescue boat. These voyages are illegal under British law and increasingly dangerous. The death toll this year already more than double last year's total. In April, we filmed an overcrowded boat in trouble just off the French coast. 5 died, including a young girl trampled to death. In another incident, 5 drowned in icy water close to shore. So far this year, over 20,000 migrants have reached the UK in small boats. That's slightly more than at the same point last year. Just last week, the French and British governments promised tougher and better coordinated action to break up the smuggling gangs. But the French authorities have warned that their forces patrolling the beaches are facing growing violence, and charities say a more nuanced approach is needed.
It needs a much more multi-pronged approach that, of course, includes policing and smashing the gangs, but critically also includes safe ways for people to reach the UK or to have their case heard before they have to take a dangerous crossing.
For now, the smuggling business continues. The risks are increasingly obvious, but tens of thousands of determined people are not put off.
Yeah, Andrew, you talk about this smuggling business, and you've reported extensively on the criminal networks behind these dreadful crossings. Who are the people the new Labour government here says it's now targeting with a vengeance?
It's complicated, Clive. We spent a lot of time, as you say, trying to track down some of these gangs, some of these networks which are operating. Tonight we've heard from one source that there may well have been a Syrian smuggler involved in this particular incident. But almost certainly there will be more than one gang involved. One or more, perhaps to arrange the boats, their transport through Turkey, Germany, to the coast of France. Many more gangs perhaps trying to fill seats, if you like, on the boat, acting together, trying to bring people and organise the logistics, the payments and so on. Here on the coast and in the boats themselves there will be junior figures, freelance smugglers if you like. Further back in cities like Antwerp, in Germany and beyond, there will be more senior middle managers in London as well. But the really big, powerful figures ultimately responsible for these networks are often to be found in places like Iraq or Syria. So really very difficult for European police forces to track them down, to put together, to link up all these groups, all operating by phone, often not knowing exactly who they're dealing with. So the British and French authorities are promising to act with more authority, with more cooperation to track them down and break up these gangs. But they have a huge task ahead of them. And let's not forget that the demand for the smugglers' services is what's driving this trade.